Lightning, everyone. All right, I've got a Chop 200 series in today. Now, this thing has a story. This car was struck by lightning, and it went to the main dealer. It spent X amount of time at the main dealer. It actually drove in there, Toyota things. You get hit by lightning and they still drive. Drove in there, no dash functions whatsoever. What else? No dash functions, a bunch of fuses, missing power feeds under there. Would run and drive all right, but yeah, no communication, etc. Now, went to the dealer, spent X amount of time at the dealer, and it actually got towed out of the dealer, wouldn't drive after that. Now, I'll attach some photos of everything I've found so far. We do still have more work to do on this, but it is starting to be dependent on parts and things like that now. It's getting a bit tricky to source modules for it because it is a keyed variant, not a keyless, and the only module sets that I can get that match are keyless. So what we found with this, we've got tons and tons and tons of tech info. So this is the full network diagram for the whole vehicle. What we ended up finding, I've sort of fixed things bit by bit as I went on this job. First thing was the lack of power feed. So I had no 12 volt feed down at the body control unit / passenger junction box for all the instrument cluster fuses, the ECU ignition B fuses, etc. When the car came in, I also had no throttle response. So if I start this up now, you'll see there is still warning lights on the dash, but I have throttle response and it drives fine. So I had absolutely no throttle when it came in. Now, the power feeds under the dash over there, we ended up sorting that. That was essentially a feed issue in that junction box, so that's been repaired. And then straight after that, installed the new instrument cluster, just because the old one does have a massive burnt trace on it, and the new instrument cluster powers straight up, so that is functioning fine. Everything that isn't reading on this dash is related to the CAN network, which is the last issue we're left with. Now, from there, I wanted to get it driving, so I started chasing down the no throttle response. The CAN stuff has been a very, very long process to track down. Ended up being a bent pin at the engine computer. So Toyota's been doing some testing, or the main dealer's been doing some testing at the engine computer there, and there was a very bent pin, which I'll attach some photos of. Now, from there, fixed that, got our throttle response back, and now got a running and driving ute. That took a fair while. The last thing we're left with is this, which is our network topology map, right? So we've got the main body ECU. This is for the interior CAN. There's another one of these under here for the exterior CAN with engine ECU and everything else. What I've got on this is I've got no continuity between CAN high, CAN low. We've got no resistance between CAN high, CAN low. The network waveform looks like shit, for lack of better terms. What I ended up doing to get an idea of what is causing this, or what module is causing this, is individually unplugging every single module on the network. So I've had most of this interior out, glove box trims, radio, HVAC panel, cluster obviously, this whole panel underneath here, the side panels, just to get to everything in here. And I ended up making a list of the main body ECU, the engine ECU, the two main ones. Now, they both have terminating resistors in them according to Toyota Tech Info, and both of those modules, when unplugged, the CAN voltage will go back to normal. Now, it still doesn't communicate through the OBD port, but it does go back to normal. We can see that. I'll attach some photos if I can on the video. From there, we're basically at the point of pulling and stripping those units or replacing them. Now, because it's been such an ongoing thing, I lean towards replacing them to get it sorted for the customer properly. It is insurance, so he obviously doesn't mind having it done properly. The issue we're running into now, and which is where this video will stop for now, is parts. So secondhand parts. Being a 2018 200, but with a bladed security system, not a prox key, is making it a little bit tricky. So a prox key I can get full sets for with superseded part numbers. A bladed key, there's only one wrecker that's got one. He's over the other side of Australia, and he's got no idea if it'll work. It's different part numbers. Toyota don't think it'll work. Now, OE parts, I can get an engine ECU, I can't get a main body ECU, and I ended up getting them to quote everything. There's a heap of stuff that's not available, ex-Japan, so it's getting a bit interesting trying to get parts, but we'll see how we go. So this has been a ongoing job. It's been about 4 days so far to get it to this point. At least now it's running and driving, so I can move it. And we are going to try and make a plan with getting those 2 modules that are pulling the network down replaced. Once I've got that done, I can do the mileage on the cluster, get it back to where it was originally, and we should be sorted. So don't let your 200 get hit by lightning, because it does create a massive job, and it is kind of an open sort of book as to what it kills, but we shall see how we go. Just to show as well, it is a good indicator of how much time it takes looking through tech info and things like that to actually figure this stuff out. You know, that's hours and hours of tech info pulled off Toyota's info system, you know, paid for with subscriptions, etc., to get that far and get the car back to running. So if we do get parts and if I can go further, I'll make a continued video on the job too.